Hello and thanks for joining me on the second part of this making a pine coffee table. Unfortunately, the official and correct second part video during the upload process to YouTube became corrupt and I lost the entire file. A lot of information, a lot of work that I'd done and recorded that I wanted to pass on to you. Unfortunately that's gone. There's no files that I can recover. But looking back over what had happened, we hadn't gone too far forward, so there's no great dilemma. We'd made the second half of the main frame. It's a copy of the first half, except the joints are finished off. But you'll pick up that later on in this video and the next one. The main thing is the drawer boxes. I made completely these drawer boxes, and really I wanted to go through this with you. So the only way I can do it is today make another drawer box just for the sake of showing you how to do it. My drawer boxes are already done and looking, I must say, quite nice. So anyway, on that, this is a drawer box. Now you'll notice I've got box joints in the corners. Using the box joint jig that I made earlier that you will have seen on one of my previous videos, we have the front to the drawer has been routed out. We have that on video, so that is going to be covered later on in it. All I want to do is form a piece of scrap wood, show you how to make these lovely little boxes. I'm starting off with just an offcut from I think it was a pine dollar, yes, or pine bedstead or something like that, but anyway, it's a lump of pine and we're going to rip it down and make a drawer the same as that. So follow with me and I'll show you how I did it. Very interesting. Okay, they're now ready for the box joint jig. Okay, my box joint jig. Remember how it works? Very simple. Stop block into place. Take a stock. One piece, get the height of the blade. Just to clear it. That's enough. Set the first two pieces in to the clamp. Keep the clamp to the maximum setting because I'm using big boards. The two stocks in place. Set your spacer, which will be the size of your fingers. Whatever size you want your fingers. Spacer. Clamp it in place.
Make sure everything's as it should be. Sounds good.
Then take your other stock and put them tight up against the stock. Make sure everything's square and flat. Put the clamp in place.
See if any of these look. No, I need a bigger space for that. Little bit.
Okay, everything's square. everything's tight. Now we wind it back to 0 and we go forward the sections that we did. Now I'll run this through quite fast, so pay close attention, but if you don't actually grasp the principle, have a watch at the main box joint jig video. That will give you a lot slower, a lot more detail for you. Next, to put the rebate on the inside, which I want for the plywood base. Before you take it apart, mark where you want the rebate.
And that way you get them all on the correct side.
Okay, I just want to rebate in there 5mm, that's all. And I'm going to burn it on the sled because the ply I'm using is just a little bit wider than the blade, so there's no point setting up the router with fine blades. Dead stop, get the blade up first. Wonderful. Now we're going to be rebating that way a little bit, so get a square. That'll just keep the wood true to the blade. Now, as mark is on the underside, we can't see it, so we need to stop this side so we can put ourselves exactly where we want to be every time, nice and easy. Set that just again 5mm, 8mm, whatever you want. This won't matter because we won't come back to it again. We just want them all to be the same, that's all. Okay, and we are ready. Before we start, I like to put all the lines facing downwards and at the same side. That side. That way then I can just, without thinking, pick them up, put them straight onto where I want them, and they're going to be correct. Okay, now I'm going to move the block back just about 1.5 mm. So I've made a thick pencil mark there. Now I just want to hide that pencil mark. And then run all the pieces through again. And next I want a piece of plywood to fit. Now, as you can see, inside and outside pieces from there to there, plus the depth of 2 inserts. Now we said we're going in 5mm, if you kept to that, it's that plus 10mm. That plus 10mm. Now because we're square, we're okay. If you had an oblong draw, then it'd be 2 measurements. But as we're square, we've got there, 2 to 8. How awkward. Yes, 2 to 8. So 2, 3, 8 is what we want the base to be. Okay, here's a bit of rough stuff. Yeah, that's straight there. So let's go 2, 3, 8 there first. Right, so now we're ready for a simple glue up and cramp up. Glue them, drop the base in. Okay, now I'm not going to glue mine up because it was only a sample to show you how to do the basic draw box. But you need to, if you're following along, you need now to glue these up, cramp them up, check they're all square, and then before we move on to the next stage, you need to take them out the clamps and sand all the joints down nice and clean. And now with all the draw boxes sanded down, looking lovely, we can set them aside for a minute. And at the camera station, we need to first, I want to finish the fronts, the draw fronts. Moulding on the edges, I'm using a 3/4 OG bit, and I'm going to catch just the very bottom half of it. If you've got one that's got a ball bearing like I've got, if you've got one with a ball bearing on like I've got here, we're not going to be using that. All I want is from about here down and that shoulder, so that it will give us this profile. So basically just set it up so it's giving the profile like there. As long as all the profiles are the same, then it won't matter. Okay, so let's get on with that. Sanding over, that should be very nice. And now to recess the drawers with a 1/2 inch 13mm straight cutting bit. And there we have 4 drawers, all ready for some finishing. Okay, next I want to sand down the main table frame and get it all glued together. Okay, sand them one at a time, put them back in the same place. That way we don't get the joints mixed up. Right, one thing to note with pine, it's very soft wood and it doesn't take kindly to being banged. So if you drop it, hit it with a mallet or anything like that, it's quite possible it's going to put dents in it like we've got here. But if you catch it before you finish it, it's no problem. Simply wet your finger, wet the area, and leave it. And it will rise back out again.